let's also get your thoughts on this, because if, as the report was headed, that they came in from those neighboring areas, we have this multinational joint task force. Are they in operation? Are we benefiting from them? How did this happen when they exist?
From these multinational joint task forces to our international and integrational efforts, I want to say something. It's not about this side alone. The other side also needs to do something. They need to do more. Because we have indicators, we have, press releases from what I've read so far. They filter in from Cameroon. We need to be sitting down with our Cameroonian colleagues to say, look, this is the situation. What safety nets can you put in place from us?
Because yes, of recent, very, very recently too, the Nigerian army spoke up against the Cameroonian forces, and I think they were saying that, well, they have been cooperating, but it would seem that we don't think that their cooperation is sufficient, or what it is that they have been doing on their end is sufficient as well.
I'll tell you something. Time was when we looked at the 3 states that were on the fringes of our borders, where the state of emergency was declared, and from that situational happenstance, one was able to say, okay, if these guys were at the fringes of our borders, the next thing they will do is to move across. So what do? They insert and extract as they see fit. Okay, that's what we are seeing now. They're coming in and going out. Now, coming in and going out can be denied them if only we can have the two sides being more serious about things.
That's why they were set up in the first place.
Yes, indeed. And also, we need to begin to address capacity and capability levels of our troops. The troops on ground, their nomenclature and designation must suit the job at hand. A tank battalion may probably not be suitable for that kind of job. We should be looking at an infantry battalion.
Now, when you talk about troops, that includes the officers as well.
Yes,
because there's some who worry about the quality and the state of mind of the commanding officers.
Yes, indeed. Capacity, as I told you, is the resources to do it. I refuse to believe this nation lacks it. Then capability is having the square peg in the square hole. You may have capacity, but if the person there is not capable, what happens? And you may have capability, the man is good, he has the antecedents, but if he lacks the capacity, what happens? And that is something we have become very popular for at home here. We bring the best in the world, they are capable, then we deny them the capacity to perform.
Let's look at let's get your thoughts on this, because one of the things that many out there, some schools of thought think it's affecting the military men on ground is the area of remuneration, that when they go out for international peacekeeping, they are well taken care of. They have the equipment, and the welfare package is proper.
I agree with you. When it comes to welfare, what the average civil servant suffers today is not different from what the soldier suffers. I stand to be corrected. We can go ahead and deny it. As at yesterday, I spoke with some of my younger ones in service. Christmas is how many hours away? As at yesterday, they had not been paid.
Wow.
I stand again to be corrected. And you want these men to die for who?
You don't say.
Now let's face it. We have to admit these problems exist before we can start solving them. Or one day, we are going to have to open our doors in the morning and shake hands with adversaries. They will become our landlords.
So they're demotivated, some of them.
Beautiful. Take it further. How do you want a serving soldier to feel when he sees his mentors as pensioners carrying placards? This is what is waiting for me. I told you somebody is not thinking somewhere, but the terrorists are thinking. The downside of it is, yes, it's embarrassing, it's not encouraging. And the upside of it is somehow, ironically, they're actually pointing faults at us that will make us stronger and wiser if we address the faults. The commander-in-chief has cause to be worried. The defense minister has cause to be worried. The service chiefs have cause to be worried. But then the problems are actually systemic and infrastructural deficits. And let us specifically address capability and capacity.
What about part of what you touched as the root cause of the problem, but you know, we also have people who have talked about the political equation. Is it in any way affecting this, you think?
Does terrorism have a political equation when it comes to our security?
In terms of...
Yes. Please go ahead. Let me hear you out first.
Yeah, in terms of how or why this even came about in the first place. The former NSA, you heard him several times, may so rest in peace. He talked about, look, such a political challenge is out, and this will fizzle out. Paraphrasing him now.
You see, first and foremost, if we want to look at the political equations involved, we discover that so many years of irresponsible governance brought about this. Okay?
This in terms of capacity?
In terms of terrorism, or militancy, whatever, those things that are beginning to become key security issues. These things are actually what you call informed by so many years of irresponsible social behavior, irresponsible governance, and they've taken time to be nurtured and grown. These cells you are seeing did not just start on their own. They were started as what you call, arm twisting equipment for politicians. And suddenly, if you go back to Yusuf's antecedents and start thinking about how the Boko Haram came about, they had a romance with politicians that went sour. And somehow he challenged them, and then they made him anti-state, and the police went after him. So what I'm saying is there is always a political coloration. But it's sad that when push comes to shove, we try to take the politics out of it and make it an entirely military operation. No, it has its antecedents.
So, okay, I'm afraid we'll have to go.
Sorry.
Thank you for coming on, retired Captain Umar Aliyu, security consultant. Thank you for coming on this morning.
You're welcome.